This is Radically Alive Women's Edgecast.
Welcome to another episode of Radically Alive Woman Edgecast. My name is Annika, and I am here with Amira, who is the founder of a organization called Lustgeburt, and also I would say, a pleasure coach, right?
Yes.
And I don't want to say too much. Actually, I'm excited having you in the space because I know that there's a wealth of research within you and also the women that are around you, sitting around the topic pleasure and being a woman, pleasure and manifestation, pleasure and birth. And today I'm particularly interested in talking about pleasure and money and how that is connected.
Yeah. Thank you, Annika. I'm really, really happy to be here. And I'm also really curious about what we are talking today.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
Yeah, you are currently based in Germany and you are currently offering everything in German. And so I'm curious what will manifest in English in this Edgecast and also in the future to translate all the treasures that you're holding. Yeah. And before we go into any more detail, would you like to say a few words about who are you now, today? What would you like to share with the audience?
That's a good question. Who I'm now? Yes, I think now I'm mostly a woman and a mother. My daughter now it's 10 years old. Who I am now? It's a good question, actually. I'm loving to really to give a lot of all this. It's like a treasure you'd called it before. It's for me, it's more like a remembering what I'm doing with the women. And yeah, there's always the pleasure. So the pleasure, it's like everywhere. And in Germany, we have this beautiful word, Lust, which is a bit wider than pleasure, I think, because it's also about, yeah, you use it if you want to do something really out of your soul. You want to have an ice cream as well as also like the sexual pleasure thing. And that all belongs together for me. And yeah, so this is what I'm teaching. I'm teaching about sexual pleasure and I'm teaching, but also about having this pleasure in life and being, yeah, really into everything with all of your senses. And this really changes everything. I'm working a lot with pregnant women and pregnant couples so that they can have an orgasmic birth, because this was my introduction into this beautiful theme, because I had a beautiful orgasmic birth without knowing that this exists before. So it was really like, wow, like a surprise for me. And after this, everything changed. And I started to become a doula and started to really research about techniques, how other women can also have access to this, to their pleasure, to their self love, and so that they can also have this beautiful birth experience like I did. And that's how I started. And then a lot of women came to me and say, well, I'm not pregnant, but I also want to have more pleasure, more orgasms. How are you doing this? How are you teaching this to this pregnant women? Can you also teach us? And so I widened it up. And after a short while, a lot of women were there and I do a lot of techniques for them and with them. And it was interesting because for them and also for me, it was also again like a surprise that the more we did about the sexual thing, and of course, for us women, it's a lot about sexual healing and sexual, yeah, body work. And the more we did this, the more also like the finances changed in really different ways, like heritage or the, I don't know, the man got a better job or whatever, or also in with the business, they're running their own. And it was for me and it was for a lot of women. And it was so many women that it was, okay, it can't be just by chance. It has to be there's something. And so I researched for that. And yeah, and so now I'm also like became a business coach, what I never thought of, because I come from being a doula with pregnant women, and now I'm doing both of it. And I love this orgasmic birth, but also like this orgasmic business and how we can set up really our soul business, the things that we really want to change in the world that's coming from really within us, and how we can give this in a world and a certain type of thing because we are doing it out of our pleasure, out of our pleasure center, our yoni. And this makes a really, really, really big difference in all of these matters and all together. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. I'm writing books, I'm being a speaker, I founded some organizations, and I'm talking to you.
Thank you. Yeah. What I get from when you're sharing is what comes through in some ways in every word you speak, and also when you paint the picture of your life, that I feel, it's, I'm getting goosebumps, and I feel sadness also because it's touching me, that you've chosen that everything you do, you're going to be turned on by. Why would you waste a single day doing something that is difficult or that is hard, or that you go through to a workplace where you work hours and hours under someone telling you how to be a better man, or to work under some certain rules because you have so and earn a certain amount of money, to really flip the coin to saying, okay, I got in the morning and I'm just so excited. I can't even wait to get up in the morning. I want to have more hours in the day because there's so much that that gets me excited.
Yes, exactly. And that's the secret, I think, about it. That's the secret, what I teach to all women, no matter birth, business, money. It's always the thing that our pleasure, it's like, I call it like a navigation system. It's our personal navigation system that it's, I think, directly connected with our inner core, with our soul, however you want to call our inner being. And it's really good because it really tells you where to go, what feels better, what you'd call it turn you on. Yeah. So it's really this. And the problem is for most women that we lost the connection to this, mostly in childhood, where we were told, no, you can't just do what you want to do. You have to first you have to do the duty and then you can do the pleasure things. It was always like this. We are really trained, especially when we started for school. We have to sit, although our pleasure impulse would be to jump around and to learn by playing or whatever. But no, we were told 6 years, 7 years old little child, we have been told, you have to sit, do the duty, do what you have to do. And so we lost the connection and of that our impulses are really good and that they are telling us what we need, what our body needs, what our soul needs. But we are really so much trained to neglect, I don't know the word, reject, thank you, to reject it and not even listen anymore to these impulses that are coming direct all the time. They're coming through. So this navigation system, it's firing, but we are not listening anymore. We can't really feel it. And so it's kind of a work in a way that we have to do to come to this place where we again can listen to these impulses, to this pleasure impulses, to this, okay, what do I want to do? I don't know, because I have to this, and if I do this, then happens that, and because my money, I have to do this, and otherwise I can't pay the rent, da, 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 da. And it's so much in us that we forgot that it's so easy, that there is this pleasure point in myself. And I can really feel it in my yoni, I can feel it in my heart, I can feel it also like physical in a way. If you have a choice between two things, you can feel this, and you feel, okay, what makes me more horny? What makes me more pleasure? Even to think about it and then choose that. And it's a really radical way to do it. And so the women in my courses are always like going crazy when they do it because it changed all of your life. I mean, it's not just vanilla or chocolates. It's really like, do I want to get up in bed in the morning or not? Do I want to go to work or not? It's really big decisions that are starting that you feel, okay, wow, no, actually, that's not what I really want, where my pleasure lays. And so yeah, it's a way to do it, but if you start it, it will bring you directly to where your soul wants to go. And this is also abundance. Yeah, and it will bring you there. Maybe it's really frightening this way to change this because we are so programmed, we are so brainwashed, so that it's not so easy to get rid of all of that. But every little step, also if you not do big decisions, every little step already makes a big difference. And you'd never know where it takes you if you get up at night and say, wow, I have a pleasure to, I don't know, go dancing in the rain. Oh, that's so crazy. I shouldn't do that. No, I do it now. And then something happens and you meet someone and this person, I don't know, offers you a new job, or, you know, that's really funny what is happening then. If we start to be led by our soul, by our navigation system of our pleasure. Yeah, so it's one way of how we can try to access to be more this, and it changed everything. It makes you so vivid, the whole life. It's so exciting, everything is new. You're not in this mode of doing every day the same thing. There are no routines anymore like this, and then it changes everything. So yeah.
What has it changed for you?
For me, it really changed a lot. Before, I was always like in this feeling of, for example, I grew up really in a not good financial situation at all. So we had like Sozialhilfe, you know, we were like
Support, yeah.
yes, and they were really, really at the edge. And I always thought that if I want to have money, I need a proper job that gives me money. And if I want to be happy, then this can't work with the money, because then I do something, you know, I studied theater, pedagogy, and dance. And I always decided for this way. I always decided for this being creative and happy, but having no money way. And so it was for me either or. It didn't come together. It was for me, it was not possible because I also didn't know anyone. And when I changed, starting to really follow my pleasure, it led me directly to this, because I fucked off everything of either or, and I combined it in a way, because I did every decision, also like building up a business, I did from this point of view. I did everything. And it was interesting because it was so different to what everyone tells you have to do. You know, they were like these business gurus and they said, oh no, you can't do that. And I said, well, it feels good, I do it. And everyone like, oh God, you can't do this, it will crash, that no one's doing it like this, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, but I feel it. And so I did a lot of crazy decisions, risky decisions, also in my business, what leads me directly to financial income that I've never thought of. I had then my child, and she was, I don't know, 2 or 3 when I really started. And I was alone with her, so it was really not easy. And I also had no money and blah, blah, blah. And it was from one month to another that I had my first course and had 12,000 euro on my bank account, from 0 to 12,000. It was like really having this phone call to the job center, to this thing, and say, I'm sorry, but I don't need you anymore. Can I stop? Can I quit? And they, what? We never had it. And it was really amazing. It went quickly, like from this to this. And it also changed that, I mean, I knew a lot about manifestation, and I always did like this money manifestation things and doing my affirmations, I did this all, and it never really worked really well, just a bit like, oh yeah, it's working. Yeah, okay. You know? And then I did kind of the same stuff, but I did it with pleasure. I stopped doing affirmation because I have to do it because of money. I just picked these things that I really liked, that I really love, that make me pleasure. I combined like the manifestation tools with pleasure tools, and I just did it out of my pleasure all the time. And it changed completely. It really put this money in a way that I never could have thought of. But it's really a combination of a lot of small decisions. But all decisions were always made from this point of pleasure view. Always. I never did something for someone or because of that. Yeah. So that was a change for me in the financial things, because of this decision that I would have never done like this before. I also was much more brave. You know, I had no idea about online marketing. The first year, I made my first 100,000 euros without having a homepage, without having anything of all the things that everyone tells you have to have that, otherwise it doesn't work. I didn't know what a funnel is, or all this stuff that I now know after a lot of years doing this. And I just really did it guided by this. Then after it, when it worked out, then the expert explained me, that is the newest technique out of America. They're doing it also like this, like you are doing it. And I thought, yeah, okay. But you told me I shouldn't do that. So it was really interesting. It's not just for me, but I also see it with my clients that they're doing, different than I do it. It's really individual, but they're doing really tough decisions in a way. And this leads you, of course, somewhere else. But it starts with just, and it's not easy, just the fact of, okay, I allow myself that I have fun and that this is the most important thing. And it's more important than the others because I know then the other will follow. Yeah. And now it's just about now. Now it feels good. So I do it. Always this. And sounds so simple. It's not. But it's the point where everything starts. Yes.
So do I get that because I know that there's a lot of, I call it memes or stories, beliefs connected to money, and they're so glued together that they're so stuck that in some ways, okay, like this needs to be unstuck in some ways. And do you go there? Do you unstuck the pieces that are in the way in my connecting with money? Because in some ways, like what I'm getting is when I look at my own history with money, it's like, if I cannot make love with money, if I hate money, then this is where I'm blocking to receive.
Absolutely.
And so I'm curious if you have a little bit of a description. How does it go in detail I'm a client of yours. I hate money. I don't want it, but I do want it. And I'm so confused. And I tried everything, like you said, about manifestation. And sometimes it comes, but the way it comes, I don't want it. And I want to do what I want in life. But I still have this story that if I want to have fun in life, this is like being on holiday. I cannot. That would be a bum on the street or one of those hippies, something like that. And so how do you start? What do you look at?
Yes, it's about our ability to laugh and our ability to make laugh. And that's what we always miss out because the basic techniques you have in every money mindset coaching that does a bit, money and manifestation. They all know that you need to like the money, that it can come into your life, of course. And I think it's really interesting when I saw these courses and there are women and men doing the course that the men are always getting it faster. It's like, why? They just need to understand it and then they're really disciplined and they're doing these techniques and then the money flows in and you think, why? Why the hell is it so easy for them? And I think I understood that men are other with their sexual energy. They're really other. They're different with this. They learned it different. They are other educated in this lifetime. And we women with this sexual energy, if we are really, have a lot of blockage there already. And so we are just working on this blockage to money. And for me, it's more up. It's more in the head and the brain. And of course, also in the unconscious. But it's not deep enough. It's not in my pelvis. It's not really in my yoni where everything comes from. And we need to start there because it really belongs together. So if a woman is coming to me, we are working in a lot of different accesses to this. And one access is what you just said, that we need to understand that we can't pull the money in if we still hate it and if we are afraid of it and if we are verachten, rejected. Yes. So it's really hard and we are so programmed of this. So of course we need to get rid of all this storytelling in our heads that there's, if we become rich, you become an asshole because we just know assholes. And of course I don't want it. But it's just a mental thing. And I think for us women, it's not enough to work just in this conceptual, brainy area with this topic because it's laying so much deeper. Because you have to understand everything that you want to manifest in life. It's like the manifestation way, the feminine manifestation way. It's getting it in, receiving it, being pregnant with it, and then birthing it. It's like a whole process. And this process is in my yoni happening. So it's like, if you want to imagine it as a picture, it's like spreading your legs wide, opening your yoni wide and say, yeah, come in. And come on, do you want to do this with money? Do you really want to do this with money? Like opening your vagina and say, come on, come in. Yeah. Or, and that's what most women have, do you have a general fear of letting something into your vagina because you maybe had some, I don't know,
Abuse.
use or hard stuff in, like everything that happened in this area, your body, of course, storage, your mind, your unconsciousness storage, and says, no, I want to protect. I close my legs. I protect. I close my vagina. I first want to see. You first have to prove me. It's like with the heart, it's the same. If your heart was ripped off one time, you will protect it. And the next person has a hard time to really get your trust again, that you can really open. The same is happening with our creation center. What is our yoni, our vagina? So, of course, most women have problems in this area. And so we are not open like this and say, yes, money and everything, come in, I trust you. No, and because it makes sense, because mostly we didn't have so many good experience with money. We saw maybe as a child, oh, my parents are arguing together because of the money. Maybe they separated because of the money. My friends didn't like me because I had not the right jumper from Nike or whatever. So we have so many things experienced with money that the whole money, if money would be a person or I don't know, a being, yeah, come on, how would it look? And that's interesting. We work with this, really like into this visualization thing, and to see how money as a being, how does it look? Is it nice? Is it handsome? Or is it an angel? Or is it more a monster? And if we are really, really, really honest, it's more a monster for the most of us who have problems with money. So, and then ask yourself, do you would let a monster into your vagina? I say, no, of course not. And so we can do a lot of affirmations and a lot of mindset change and blah, blah, blah in our brain. And then our energy center in our pelvis will say, no, you don't come in here. No. Yeah. So it really has to do a lot with this sexual energy, with this canal that, it's a way, it's a funnel that leads all in and then also leads it out. So we really have to have a close look on how we're imprinted, what imprints do we have, how is our sexual education. And of course, we can also look at our sex life and see how easy is it for me to open up, how easy is it for me to surrender, how easy is it for me to have orgasms. It's not like, okay, because you have one orgasm, this means da-da-da. It's not like that, yeah? But we can have a closer look to this, how our sex life is and how easy things are, happening to me. And we can work here and we can start working here and we will see a shift, a change, a transformation in how we are allowed to let the money flow into our life. It's directly connected because it's also about all of this, creation process. And so we need to look at the sexual thing about the letting in, but also we need to look about the letting out, about the birthing process. Yeah, especially if we want to change a business or run a business, start a business or whatever. But I mean, every manifestation is always this birthing process in a way. Yeah, everything is this. And then we also need to look at how are we birthing? How have we been birthed as a baby? Ask your mother, how has it been? What experience did I experience as a baby? And also this is an imprint. Also in my sexuality, that's why I'm an orgasmic birth teacher, because we understand that birth is part of the female sexuality. And most of us, sadly, women didn't have good experience in birth. Most of them had then the feeling of, I didn't do it on my own. I couldn't do it. I'm not capable of, because they needed to do a cesarean, they needed to put it out, they needed to a lot of medication. Most of the women are coming out of birth with a feeling, I'm not capable of birthing.
Also, I guess like in the process of it, they already gave their center away to the outside. So it's not an empowering story. It's like a disempowering story of already deciding that the outside, probably also through the pregnancy, that the outside knows more than I'm capable of from within, right? To source from the
Yes.
orgasmic energy, the sexual energy that's already inside of myself, trusting that Gaia is actually present right here, right now.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, it's not their fault. Yeah. It's a whole system that's
Yeah.
stands behind that, driving a woman, to do that. And of course, it's cool to have medication and stuff for really, really some cases of emergency. But I mean, not all cases are really emergency. And most women are coming out. And I mean, there's statistic about this, how they're coming out of birth, how they feel. And most of them have this feeling of, okay, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not from
Mm-hmm.
within, how you say.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so important to understand, because the biggest manifestation a human being, a female woman being can do is, oh my God, doing a baby and producing, my body is producing it and birthing it. It's the biggest creation, I mean, really in physical, that we can ever do. It's really like the biggest imprint in my sexuality and in my whole creation processes that I can give myself. Yeah. And most women have this imprint of, I can't do that. So why then shouldn't we do this really easy to create some new money, to create a new business, to create something that's flowing into my life? If we have experience, no, I can't do that. I need help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm too narrow. I'm too whatever. I'm not right. I'm not right. I'm all others, but I'm not right.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
is
And I'm the only one. Yeah.
Yes, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
true, but it feels like this. And
Mm-hmm.
so all this stuff, I think we really miss out if we just do like money mindset, blah, 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 techniques, really in a male disciplined way, that we as women, we have all of this big experience in our sexuality. And it's really make the difference. We can do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of affirmation and it won't work if
Mm-hmm.
we are not trying to really bring healing and understanding and all of this in this really, really big experiences in our life. And then we can change, we can start. It doesn't mean that, okay, I had a traumatic birth experience, that's why I will always be poor. No, it's not like this, of course. But we need this point of understanding and also kind of agreeing, okay, it's like it is. And now from this, I can start to build up. I can start to
Mm-hmm.
I can
Mm-hmm.
start to integrate and then change also in little ways. And we need this also for our self-love, to understand why we are like we are and to be really kind with ourselves, that it's not like this and it's not so far how we want it to be. It's not just about understanding how manifestation works. No, it's really in the body also, and it's really in the center that we have, also to work in a bodily way, so we've been doing a lot of body work about body sexual healing and all of this stuff, because it's so important.
I have one particular question because it's something that I'm at the edge of discovering this distinction right now. And it's to do with the receiving bit that you started. And I want to touch on a collective trauma, really, that's alive, and something that is to do with loyalty to the mother, but probably the whole maternal line as a woman, where I can't have it better than that line or my mother, or I can't have it good, or I need to have hardship as well. It needs to be difficult, something like that. So this is what I'm working personally with at the moment. I'm also witnessing this in other women, that somehow it's like I can't stand in my value fully. So, and it's both. It's the receiving and the expression afterwards. Yeah. So there is the conception and the birth. In both ways, I'm like, okay, I need to hold back a little bit, even though I know I've done the transformation, I've done energetic shifts. I personally, I think the physical kind of expression of my pleasure in the sexual space or in life, also choosing to have the pleasure in what I do, it's present. And yet it's like this, okay, And here the story still wants to come in, even though the reality is already showing something different. It's not directly linked to money with me yet. And I'm seeing, like, in reality, life is working out. I'm manifesting what I want. I've shifted enough to do that. And there's this like little holding back. Okay, but not that much. I can't have more than the neighbor or my mother at the end of the day. And I'm so curious what you found out about that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I also work a lot in the ancestor lines with the women, always, because there's the beginning. And what I found out is that it's always about love. And that it's not like, oh, they did it so worse, and now I have to crucify myself. We're in this strange things in our head, but it's more about really being in connection also with them and in understanding with them. And they did it out of love and they wanted always to protect the next generation. And it's not just about money, it's also about sexuality. If we go 100, 200 years in the past, of course, we see that the woman needed to, as a mother, I need to put the pleasure down in my daughter. She couldn't be too much sexual. She couldn't be too much big dreams, too much strong, too much whatever. And we always needed to suppress this, always.
She might be killed, right? If she expresses herself too much.
Because it was so dangerous, it was really saving the life of the next generation. And it was out of love. And I think for me, this was a turning point. It was not like, oh, I'm the poor one. It was really like, no, they did it with consciousness of, okay, I want to protect you in this crazy world. And therefore, I need you to be calm and kind and little girl and not too big and not too much. Also, like with the male, and this time, if a woman has too much money, yeah, like, no, the man needs the money and she needs to be protected and relent on him. And that's how it has to be. Otherwise, she wouldn't get a husband or whatever. And it's really, really dangerous. So it's always about this protection thing in it. And for me, it makes a lot of ease to say, okay, wow, this was out of love. Thank you. If you wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And this really like, so for me, it makes a difference. And still I say, wow, but it was for this time. And now it's another time. And now I do something else to protect my daughter and to give her the best life and the best starting positions. It's also like changing the view in the back to the view in the future and say, okay, thank you. And now I do it different for the next generation, because now it's different how it's safe for her and how it's happy for her and all this. But yeah, it was always a crucifying thing about crucifying the sexual, the pleasure, the money, the bigness, the truth of what the women are. It was really hard. Oh my God. And it was thousands of women. If you go back and count it, it's really interesting. If you always count how many women are like 100 generations behind you, it's a really, really big amount. And of course, it has a big weight in your life, and it's okay. But still, for me, it makes a big difference to see the different motivation. Okay, it was out of love from mother to daughter, from mother to daughter. It was from love. And therefore, I can say, yeah, thank you. Thank you that you did it like that. Thank you. And still, I change and do it different. So it's really just a kind of perspective. And of course, a lot of forgiveness, inner work, and da-da-da. But also there, it's for me, again, connected with the sexuality, because also in these times, it was always a protection about, being married, having a man, and all the money thing was connected to the sexual thing of, birthing a lot of babies. It was all connected. Sex and money was always connected. So this is also our heritage that we are having in us from the whole line, that we can't separate this. It's always together. And it was dangerous as hell. And now still it belongs together. And so if we want to have more money, we need also work on the sexual things. We need this, if you want to be big and stay in our real ourselves, we can't do this with abused sexuality, that it's still with a lot of shame. It's a thing. Yeah, we can't receive money when we're still in shame about our body. It doesn't work together. It's always the same. It's also about sexual appeal. Yeah, how can we do self-love with ourselves? It makes a difference, and it's part of this money mindset. It's also a body and sexual set that we really change. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for summarizing that. I get a sense also that it's like through what you bring, and also what I've been finding out recently working with clients, it's the joy and the pleasure also in the process of it that is then supportive of the healing. So if I'm a client and I come to you, or I'm in a group with women working on the topic of healing my money topic, for example, I can do that with pleasure and I can do that with hardship. And I can start right there and go, okay, this belief of like, I'm a woman, I'm already half broken, not enough, and start there. Or to say, no, actually, everything is okay where I am, and I'm choosing pleasure to go into the healing of it because I want to pull that in and to keep cultivating that and to keep working with the pleasure along the way.
Yes, exactly. I call it orgasmic healing, and I love it because, it's not like, oh God, I have to do so much hard trauma work. And I do like, how the generation of my mother did it. She had all this shit experienced, and she did 20 years of therapy and worked, and it was so hard for her that she couldn't be a mother because it all, in therapy all comes up, and it was so difficult for her. And I think we are now in we have more possibilities to go there. I mean, the other way, it's also possible, of course, but we can also do it in a pleasure way. We can do orgasmic healing. We can use the pleasure to heal ourselves, especially in these parts of our body, but I mean, in everything. Yes. For me, the big difference, or the big, mind shift was because of the birth. If I can experience the so-called, so known biggest pain that a human body can experience, like having birth, it's also just a conception, and it's not really true, because no, even this I can transform with pleasure. I can use the pleasure and I can experience it. I mean, it's still really crazy and intense, but still it's pleasurable, and I can really walk through this crazy sensations and have pleasure. And if this is possible, I can do everything, like everything, like the emotional waves, like the birthing waves. And if I know how this works, I can do it. And so for me, this was really the big transition where I understood, okay, I can do this in pleasure, then I can also do every healing in pleasure. And then I stay, then it's not like I go away and I disconnect. So, but I'm in the connection with me, with myself, with my body, with the emotions. I stay and I work myself through, and I claim even the pleasure. And then the healing is fun. I mean, not fun in this way, in another way, but it's really possible to really heal in an orgasmic way. And I stay empowered the whole way. I'm not going in this victim place of being, but I stay in my empowered, creator being, and I decide to go through this, and I decide to go through this healing process, and I decide how. This is really a big difference. I really think we're here on Earth not to do everything with pain. And, we are so programmed and learning by pain and growing by pain and birthing by pain, and everything has to go with a lot of, and I think it's not true. And also healing. So I think we can do all. I think we are here to enjoy this life and to really milk it in a way. But we need the connection from our yoni, from this really beautiful space that everything comes from. And most of us lost the connection. But if we get it back, we can use it for everything, for all issues. Yeah.
Thank you, Amira. I get that you're like a lighthouse for changing the compass. It's like putting the compass into a different direction and changing the focus, and that it's possible, and that even such thing as pain doesn't need to be suffering. It might be pain, but it's a new experience that you can go through, that it's like part of being a human being in life. What I would love to hear from you while we're wrapping up the interview is one thing that you have that a woman that is listening now, where she could start, like an experiment where she could start exploring her connection to her pleasure and possibly also the link to money in that. Do you have an experiment for us?
Mm. It's like a change for how I go to my daily life, because it's always like, oh yeah, I do this one time when I have time, then I do like this pleasure thing, then I do masturbation, then I have self-love, whatever. But we never come to this point where we have the luxury. So always pleasure is connected to having luxury time. And so that's the wrong place of pleasure. It really needs to have in your ranking list a really much more higher place. And to go there, it needs to come into your really shitty daily life routines. It needs to go in there. And for this, I also work a lot with the yoni acts, this little stones that you put in the yoni, and then you're in the normal daytime, you're connected and you feel it. And I mean, not everyone, for everyone, this is the right thing, but maybe. But you can also do it like more easy if you do like a normal decision during the day, and you ask your yoni, not your brain, not your heart, you really ask your yoni. And while doing so, you put your hand on her, and I mean, you can do it just on top of the clothes, no one really will see it. I mean, you just have to understand how check one time how often men are touching their penis all the time. They're touching the penis all the time. Yeah, we're not. So it's really nice to have this connection, to have this touch, maybe from the outside, maybe if you want also from the inside, even better. And just because of this touch, you have the connection, you have the focus on it. And then you ask yourself, and really just in the beginning, I would recommend just to do it with easy decisions that are not life-taking important, just like, yeah, shall I cook noodles or potatoes today? So really, and then you just have the touch at your yoni and you wait what she's answering. And it's interesting. For some women, it's more like in a picture or a feeling, but there are also a lot of women who experience that it really felt in the yoni. It felt like, like, if you have two men and one is really sexy and one not, your yoni will react and she will react, oh, this man. I mean, every woman describes difference. It's like, for me, it's like a hopping, like a little tiny jump in the yoni, like a something like this. For others, it's like a warm feeling or like something becoming wet or whatever. Yeah. So you just see what it happens and then you decide out of that. And you also do it with things like the Sansa man, so you can check how your yoni talks to you, how the translation workbook, you have to wake it out, and for every woman it's different. So also do it with things that are clear to you anyway, like shall I go on holiday to a spa or shall I walk my ass off in the office the whole summer through? I mean, come on, everyone knows what you want. And then you also check how the yoni reacts. So that then you have like, you can compare this and then you put it in just normal daily life situations. And I mean, you don't always have to do it then. You can also say, okay, well, but I still need to do noodles because whatever. But at least you checked on her. And then if you get a bit used to it, you can do it also to more important decisions. But it's really nice. And for this, it's also like allowing myself that I'm allowed to have pleasure, and that's important, even at the noodle potato thing. But of course, also in the thing, do I really want to be with my friend today going to the cinema or not? Yeah. And so it's really nice to have this really bodily connection. If you do it just 2-3 times a day in the beginning, it's nice. Then at least in the evening, you can say, okay, 3 times I gave a little bit of pleasure into my body. I gave a touch. if you don't have sex on a regular basis, I mean, come on, how often are you touching your yoni in a nice way, not just, I don't know, I clean it or something. So it's so important. This is just the beginning, really just this touch, this questioning, and then you can build up by that. Yeah.
Thank you, Amira. And thank you for giving us a possibility to grow our pleasure muscle. I feel glad and also touched to have been on this journey with you and feeling through your speaking the pleasure in all that you experience and that you bring. And that's inspiring. So thank you for being available for that.
Yes, you're very welcome. Thank you that I can share this with you and the beautiful woman. Thank you.